You're watching KFDX3 News, live from downtown Wichita Falls. This is the 40th annual Hotter in Hell 100, sponsored by Guaranteed Title and The Bike Stop.
Good morning, Texoma. Tobin McDuff here, downtown Wichita Falls on Scott Avenue, as we are preparing for the 40th annual Hotter in Hell 100. I'm joined by my partner in crime. That would be MJ Baird. MJ, we've also got some other folks with us throughout the next hour.
Yes, we do. We'll hear from Daryl Franklin, Lauren Linville, Kevin Selly, Skip McBride, and a bunch of these riders who are getting ready to ride or race today.
That's right. So excited to be back down here on the downtown streets of Wichita Falls preparing for this annual event. Safety measures are being taken place by the city, by the organizers of the event, and that is great to see that we can have a safe event down here in Wichita Falls.
A virtual race is one thing, but it's certainly not the same. And for me, kind of experiencing this for the first time, I'm just thrilled to get ready to see these riders go by and kind of take it all in.
And over the course of the next hour, we're going to entertain you. We're also going to educate you. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now by tossing it to Kevin Selly, and he can talk about the weather.
Tobin, MJ, we are building anticipation and excitement here at the big inflatable gate here for the Hotter in Hell 100. Weather-wise, I think we're in pretty good shape. I mean, it's supposed to be hot, right? That's the name of the race, and temperatures are going to be probably topping out later in the day in the low to maybe mid-90s in a couple of spots. The big problem is going to be the humidity. The dew point temperatures have been running in the mid to upper 60s, near 70 degrees, and that's harder to sweat. You have sweat in your body so that you can evaporate that sweat, and then that helps cool your body. Well, when there's a lot of moisture in the air, it's a little harder to do that. Now, the riders will have wind to help them do that, but with really high dew point temperatures, again, it's a little more difficult. As far as the actual forecast temperatures running in the, let's say, low to mid-70s as we start the race, we'll probably by noontime, as most people will start to wrap up by midday, we'll be running in the upper 80s, which is pretty hot. There is no rain chance today, other than much later this afternoon, 1 or 2, 3 or 4 little showers in a couple of spots. Shouldn't be a big problem. How about some historical perspective? You mentioned history, Tobin. It's the 40th anniversary. How about some historical weather perspective on this? Well, you know, Michael Bowling is the office climatologist, and he went back and took a look at some numbers. Over the past 20 years, what's the average high temperature? It's 97 degrees for the Hotter in Hell 100. Morning low temperatures running in the mid-70s, 76, that's the average. Always a big question, but usually not a big problem, is rainfall. And in the last 20 years, it's only rained 4 times on the Hotter in Hell 100. And once again, for this one, we don't have any rain in the forecast for today. So we are on our way. We're ready to go. We're checking with people all around the start line here. Let's check in with Lauren Linville, see what she's up to. Lauren?
All right, Kevin. Yeah, you can definitely tell it is humid out here just by my hair. It was curly this morning. It's pretty straight at this point. But hey, we're having so much fun. This is really my first time to see the Hotter in Hell 100 from the start line, so I'm so excited. And hey, it takes so much for this event to happen, especially with the Wichita Falls Police Department. I'm here with Sergeant Charlie Eiper. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
All
Good morning.
Talk a little bit about what goes into this event for the police department.
Well, there's a lot of planning. The big thing we want for our riders is to be safe on the road. So we plan for officers to be at certain intersections and areas along strips where the riders can, as they get tired, they can't look for traffic. So we want to make sure that they're safe from that. So what we want to do is encourage our drivers around town today is even if you see an officer working an area and they are governing the traffic, still, if they give you the go-ahead and look for riders. It's kind of like a green light. You always want to check first. And so that's what we want. We want these folks to have a good time. It's festive. It's tradition. We got people from all over the place. I've talked to some people from Norway. And so it's just a great day.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And one of the things that you just talked about is obviously looking out for those riders and sharing the road today. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some things that people might not think about when they are on the roads with those bikers?
Yeah, well, number one, they're not going to move as fast as cars, so don't anticipate them. Just take a little bit longer time at those intersections where you're stopped, especially if an officer doesn't see the riders. Look for them. and just give them the right of way. It's their day, so that's what we want to do, is keep them safe.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us,
You
Sergeant
bet.
Iper. We really appreciate it, and all the work that you guys do at the police department. All right, Tobin, MJ, what's going on?
Yeah, we can only reiterate, be patient today. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the road closures here downtown that may impact your commute this morning. Until 8 o'clock this morning, Scott from Lincoln to 12th Street will be closed. Ohio from 11th to 7th Street will be shut down until noon. And from 8 this morning until 6 tonight, Scott Avenue is closed from 7th to Lincoln, and Indiana is closed from 13th to 11th.
Yeah, speaking of that area, the following areas are going to be closed all day, 8 to 6 once again. That's going to be Lamar from 2nd Street to 11th, Lincoln from Scott all the way to Burke Burnett, and between Scott and Lamar, all numbered streets from 2nd to 11th will be closed until 6.
Falls Ride will also be rerouted in certain areas. Now, to take a look at all of these closures again, we have them for you over at Texomashomepage.com, because we just blasted you with a lot of information and a lot of streets. So head over to Texomashomepage.com and you can check out all of those road closures. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back to Scott Avenue, downtown Wichita Falls, KFDX's coverage of the Hotter Than Hell 100.
The 40th annual
Welcome back, Texoma. Yeah, 3,000 volunteers, MJ. This could not go off without the volunteers across Texoma.
I mean, we've seen a lot of them in those yellow shirts already, Hotter Than Hell 100. Those shirts, you kind of stick out like a sore thumb, so you know who the volunteers are.
That's right, and they have a lot of fun at those rest stops. They all have themes. They dress up and just have a blast. It's a photo opportunity for a lot of those riders. So looking forward to seeing those photos out in the rest stops getting shared on social media later today as well. Okay, let's toss it over to Daryl Franklin.
Okay, Tobin, here we go, Landry. I believe we're on now. I'm with Wayne Nixon. He's from down around the Denton area. Is that right? And tell me, Wayne, what brings you to the Hotter Than Hell? You said you've done this 7 years now?
Yes. I just got interested in bike riding after I had to give up running due to a hip surgery.
You're 70 years old now. Tell me, what is this bike called?
This is a recumbent trike. It's real good for people with back issues, neck issues, wrist issues. You don't have to worry about those things on a recumbent.
What are the neat gadgets on here that you get to use?
It's pretty much the same as a regular bike. It's still got anywhere from 27 to 30 speeds.
27, 30 speeds. Yeah, I grew up with 10, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
and what kind of speed can you build up to?
downhill, I can do 30 miles an hour.
30?
On the flats, I do about 18, 20. I can do 20.
And the Hotter Than Hell, is this something you look forward to all year?
Oh yeah. I train. I usually start training in April. I do 400 or 500 miles a month. April, May, June, July, I do 500, and this month I've hit 600.
What's it like when you get here and you're surrounded by so many thousands of riders?
Oh, it's a blast. It's a blast.
And when you're
Especially when you get out, it's a well-organized ride, and they have a lot of rest stops, and they're well prepared. It's a really good ride, too.
How did you build up to the 100-mile?
Just as first year I only did the 50 mile. The second year I did 100K, and then I've been doing the 100 mile ever since. And it's just preparation.
How old are you again?
70 years old. 70
years old, and you do 100 miles each year. So building up for this and doing this, how do you feel as far as at 70? You feel like you're in the best shape of your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I am in my best shape of my life. I wrestled and ran cross country and track in high school, and I'm in better shape now than I was back then. So.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Wayne. I hope you have a good time today, just like everybody else.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Tobin. Or send it over to Kevin.
Daryl, we have had an amazing, fascinating, interesting time standing here this morning because, of course, this is the 40th anniversary of the Hotter Than Hell, and I have run into a gentleman who is the historian of all bike racing, Anthony Ruggiero. You are an amazing fellow. Now, let's talk basics first. Where are you from?
I'm from Orange County, California, the home of Disneyland.
And in 2010, you weighed how much?
300 pounds.
And you started riding.
Bought a Kamali bike and
What has that done for your life?
Changed my life. Saved my life.
How?
First of all, weight loss, and second of all, I told you a story about finding a heart problem, and without riding a bike, I wouldn't have known I had the heart problem.
Right.
And it gave me an adventure of doing these and bike racing, becoming one of the top bike racers at 55 plus in the nation.
Right. Talk about Wichita Falls.
Wichita Falls is an amazing town, and coming from California, people would think I'm crazy, and I try to explain it to them. The vibe here is amazing. All these people have a story. All these people are going to ride their bike in 100-degree temperature, even though it's 94. It feels like 100-degree temperature,
yeah.
And they're going to ride 100 miles, spend their day riding 100 miles. What an amazing concept.
You're kind of a scientist on this as we've been visiting here. When you talk about riding in this heat and this humidity, because you've ridden all over the country, talk about how this one is different that way.
Well, you have to prepare for the heat. Obviously, you have to hydrate. But they always say hydrate, but most people don't know how to hydrate. You have to get your sodium, potassium, and chlorides. Electrolytes have to be balanced before you go, and you have to have electrolytes on the ride so that you don't cramp and go out. Most people don't understand that. They don't know what hydration means. If you just drink water, you're getting rid of your electrolytes.
And what has COVID done last year for bike racing and this year?
COVID killed bike racing last year. And this year, it's insane. People want to come out. People want to ride. I've never seen more energy. I've done this now 10 straight years, 100 riding days a year on the road at events like this, and the energy this year and the excitement of being outside is greater than ever, and the appreciation that we get to do this.
And tell me quickly, a couple of years ago, you were ranked where in bike riders
Third
of the
in the nation at 55 plus,
Anthony,
and number one at category 3.
Thank you so much for your time, and good luck today.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Guys, this Anthony is an amazing fellow. We've been standing here just jawing about bike racing, which is perfect for the 40th anniversary of the Hotter Than Hell 100, and we're going to go see what Lauren's doing right now. Lauren?
All right. Hey, Kevin, I found some people from my neck of the woods. This is the North Terrance Cycling Club. This is Ryan and Tony and Lance and everybody else with their crew. Hey, guys, how long have you been coming out here?
This is my 10th one.
14th.
14th. Wow. So they've been coming out here for a while. Now, you're the founder of the North Terrance Cycling Club. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
We just try to promote a common place where guys can come and feel safe in a group, and try to keep people from riding single because it's a lot dangerous. But the camaraderie of the group pushes people and just brings in a brotherhood. It's we just try to keep it fun and safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And how many guys are out here with you, and girls?
We've got 7 of us right now.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. And what is y'all's favorite thing about Hotter Than Hell?
Go ahead, T.
Everything about it, the support, the roads, the people. It's the best ride in Texas.
The best ride in Texas. You heard it here from the North Terrance Cycling Club. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. All right, Tobin and MJ, what's going on?
Well, you know what? I've replaced MJ with a familiar face here in Texoma. Skip McBride is joining me now. And Skip, you and I shared this stage for many, many years.
Well, not this particular stage. This has been a step up.
You like this?
I like this. It's much easier to climb than that ladder we used to have. It's nice.
Well, Skip, we're about to go under the 40th year that's going to take off. What are some of your most fond memories of this event?
The heat. Or the lack thereof, because there's been many years that we haven't hit 100 degrees. We've had more moisture this year, and it's made it feel hotter. I think the biggest thing I can remember, I was talking to Doug Bilyeu a couple of days ago about this. Right just off stage here, there is a cover, and it was raining so hard that we had to push everything underneath that, and it was about that wide. And I think that's one of the biggest memories, that and the number of people that go by year after year and yell and remember us and talk to us. So
that's what I really love. I love the people that ride by and scream out hello.
Yeah.
Skip, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing some thoughts with us. It's so good to see you all the time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. How about we head to break once again, and we'll return in just a few minutes. We're downtown Wichita Falls on Scott Avenue, KFDX coverage of the Hotter Than Hell 100.
Welcome back to the 40th Hotter Than Hell 100. It is shaping up to be one beautiful morning, and look who I found, Artie Woods. You know Artie because, of course, his crime-fighting partner, McGruff, is not out here this morning, I guess.
I can't hold my hand over his ears and mine at the same time.
You know, and we are in the spot where you're going to want to have your hands over your ears. You can see the cannon behind Artie.
When the flames come over, and it gets about right there, they set it off. And you try to tell people to cover your ears.
Every year I try to remember to, and I do remember until I get infatuated with that flame. And then I'm looking up and going, oh, that's so beautiful. Look what Shepard's done again. And then boom.
And then you say, what?
Yeah,
what?
Exactly. What? You can't hear anything. Tell me, Artie, how many years before it was passed over to Fort Belknap were you involved with setting off the cannon?
Oh, roughly 20 years.
20 years. Yeah. Tree had responsibilities all those years.
Tree, Lane Crow, Bob Neal. You had so many of them involved in it. And it was, at that time, we had a howitzer.
Right.
4-inch howitzer.
So it's 2 cannons they set off simultaneously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
so
you want to talk about a blast, you could hear that in an electric.
Double duty, and I guarantee you, you saw the trees part a little bit.
Well, what was it like all those years? It's something I guess you guys really took pride in. And these were, one of those cannons at least, it was Dr. McBroom's, right?
Right. And I enjoyed being around the man. He was a super nice guy.
And so it's since been passed over to Fort Belknap, and they've got the responsibility now.
That's right. They have to be certified. Somebody has to be a certified cannoneer, I think.
Well, it does make sense. So, are you excited to be out here?
I'm always excited about being out in the public because meeting people and being able to do something to make them smile and laugh a little bit, have a get up they normally don't see.
Right.
And I miss my dog, but I can't do 2 things at one time.
Well, you'll see your dog later in the day, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Artie, thanks so much for being with us this morning. It's always a pleasure, always good to see you.
Hey, y'all have a good day and cover your ears.
Yes, don't forget to cover your ears. So just a few minutes after the National Anthem, the flyover, I'll be talking with Jim Hammond from Fort Belknap right back there about the cannon blast. Tobin, MJ.
Being a McDuff, I often get confused for being a McGruff.
Right.
It happens. Hey, you know what? Today is August the 28th. It was exactly 40 years ago today that the Hotter Than Hell 100 began. It was August 28th of 1982. One thing they did not have back in 1982 was Snapchat.
No, I don't think they did. It wasn't exactly invented. You didn't have the smartphone to kind of just pull it up. But nowadays we do, and I believe you have Snapchat, no?
I do have Snapchat. You know, my daughter loves the filters, of course.
Speaking of filters, we've got one for the Hotter Than Hell 100.
Uh-huh.
How about this? If you could take a picture, maybe send it into our newsroom, or even just post it online, we'd love to see it. We have a Snapchat geo filter, and what's the hashtag, Tobin? Is it HHH?
KFDX.
KFDX, perfect.
We want to see all those photos on social media. Share them with us, please.
All right, very good.
You want to toss it to Lauren?
Let's do it,
hey, Lauren, take
Linville.
it away.
Hey, guys, I'm here with the Deputy Fire Chief, Donald Hughes. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. All right, so talk a little bit about the participation the fire department has here for the Hotter Than Hell 100.
Mainly our job is just support. A lot of medical issues happen more towards that finish line. So we have medical carts, us and AMR, kind of tend to people as they're coming in. We also have people that are out on the route in case there's some crashes out there that we kind of assist with that. Our main goal the first thing in the morning is to set this flag up at the start line.
Yeah, Landry, do you think we can get a shot? I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's a flag right there at the start line where everyone, all the riders are going to ride right underneath that flag. Talk about, can I talk this morning?
I don't know. I'm
talk
having
about
a hard
that
time too.
setup for us. How does that work? How do you guys get that set up?
We use 2 of our truck companies. They set it up about 25 feet. And we have a bigger flag, but we don't have enough room down there to set it up. So this is what we set up every year. Roby always asks. He can care less really if we're doing anything else, but he wants to make sure that flag's there.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's really impressive. You have 10 to 12,000 people sitting back here looking at it. We try to present it the best we can.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it looks beautiful up there, and I know that they're all going to feel some pride when they ride under there here in just a few minutes as this race and this ride gets started. All right, Tobin and MJ, what's going on?
I'm glad Lauren mentioned that. It is a race and a ride. The Category 1 racers are already underway. They took off here about 8 minutes ago.
Okay.
And so they're expected to finish somewhere in the neighborhood of between 10:30 and 11 o'clock this morning, depending on what kind of a push they get from the winds behind them. But it's important to know that it is a race and a ride. A lot of these riders are about to take off in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I believe sunrise on my phone is 7:03 local time. Kevin may know better, but that's when they're supposed to get underway.
That's when we'll hear the cannon. Okay, let's take another break. We'll return to the downtown streets of Wichita Falls for KFDX coverage of the 40th annual Hotter Than Hell 100 in just a moment.
Welcome back to the 40th Hotter Than Hell 100. It is shaping up to be one beautiful morning, and look who I found, Artie Woods. You know Artie because, of course, his crime-fighting partner, McGruff, is not out here this morning, I guess.
I can't hold my hand over his ears and mine at the same time.
You know, and we are in the spot where you're going to want to have your hands over your ears. You can see the cannon behind Artie.
When the flames come over, and it gets about right there, they set it off. You try to tell people, cover your ears.
Every year I try to remember to, and I do remember until I get infatuated with that flash. And then I'm looking up and going, oh, that's so beautiful. Look what Shepard's done again. And then boom.
And then you say, what?
Yeah,
what?
Exactly. What? You can't hear anything. Tell me, Artie, how many years before it was passed over to Fort Belknap were you involved with setting off the cannon?
Oh, roughly 20 years.
20 years. Yeah. Tree had responsibilities all those years.
Lane Crow, Bob Neal. You had so many of them involved in it, and it was, at that time, we had a howitzer, a 4-inch howitzer.
So it's 2 cannons they set off simultaneously, right? Mm-hmm. And
so
you want to talk about a blast, you could hear that in an electric.
Double duty, and I guarantee you, you saw the trees part a little bit.
Well, what was it like all those years? It's something I guess you guys really took pride in. And these were, one of those cannons at least, it was Dr. McBroom's, right?
Right. And I enjoyed being around the man. He was a super nice guy.
And so it's since been passed over to Fort Belknap, and they've got the responsibility now.
That's right. They have to be certified. Somebody has to be a certified cannoneer, I think.
Well, it does make sense. So, are you excited to be out here?
I'm always excited about being out in the public because meeting people and being able to do something to make them smile and laugh a little bit, have a get up they normally don't see.
Right.
And I miss my dog, but I can't do 2 things at one time.
Well, you'll see your dog later in the day, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Artie, thanks so much for being with us this morning. It's always a pleasure, always good to see you.
Hey, y'all have a good day and cover your ears.
Yes, don't forget to cover your ears. So just a few minutes after the National Anthem, the flyover, I'll be talking with Jim Hammond from Fort Belknap right back there about the cannon blast. Tobin, MJ.
Being a McDuff, I often get confused for being a McGruff.
Right.
It happens. Hey, you know what? Today is August the 28th. It was exactly 40 years ago today that the Hotter Than Hell 100 began. It was August 28th of 1982. One thing they did not have back in 1982 was Snapchat.
No, I don't think they did. It wasn't exactly invented. You didn't have the smartphone to kind of just pull it up. But nowadays we do, and I believe you have Snapchat, no?
I do have Snapchat. You know, my daughter loves the filters, of course.
Speaking of filters, we've got one for the Hotter Than Hell 100.
Uh-huh.
How about this? If you could take a picture, maybe send it into our newsroom or even just post it online, we'd love to see it. We have a Snapchat geo filter. And what's the hashtag, Tobin? Is it HHH?
KFDX.
KFDX. Perfect.
We want to see all those photos on social media. Share them with us, please.
All right. Very good.
You want to toss it to Lauren?
Let's do it.
Hey, Lauren,
Linville.
take it away.
Hey, guys. I'm here with the Deputy Fire Chief, Donald Hughes. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. All right. So talk a little bit about the participation the fire department has here for the Hotter Than Hell 100.
Mainly our job is just support. A lot of medical issues happen more towards that finish line. So we have medical carts, us and AMR, kind of tend to people as they're coming in. We also have people that are out on the route in case there's some crashes out there, that we kind of assist with that. Our main goal the first thing in the morning is to set this flag up at the start line.
Yeah, Landry, do you think we can get a shot? I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's a flag right there at the start line where everyone, all the riders are going to ride right underneath that flag. Talk about, Can I talk this morning?
I don't know. I'm
Talk
having a hard
about that
time, too.
setup for us. How does that work? How do you guys get that set up?
We use 2 of our truck companies. They set it up about 25 feet. And we have a bigger flag, but we don't have enough room down there to set it up. So this is what we set up every year. Roby always asks. It's just, he can care less really if we're doing anything else, but he wants to make sure that flag's there.
Yeah,
so
well, it looks...
It's really impressive. You have 10 to 12,000 people sitting back here looking at it. We try to present it the best we can.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it looks beautiful up there, and I know that they're all going to feel some pride when they ride under there here in just a few minutes as this race and this ride gets started. All right, Tobin and MJ, what's going on?
I'm glad Lauren mentioned that. It is a race and a ride. The Category 1 racers are already underway. They took off here about 8 minutes ago.
Okay.
And so they're expected to finish somewhere in the neighborhood of between 10:30 and 11 o'clock this morning, depending on what kind of a push they get from the winds behind them. But it's important to know that it is a race and a ride. A lot of these riders are about to take off in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I believe sunrise on my phone is 7:03 local time. Kevin may know better, but that's when they're supposed to get underway.
That's when we'll hear the cannon. Okay, let's take another break. We'll return to the downtown streets of Wichita Falls for KFDX coverage of the 40th annual Hotter Than Hell 100 in just a moment. Look at that sea of cyclists down Scott Avenue.
Wow, that's more than I guess I could have imagined. Like I said before, I don't really know what to expect here, but that is just a beautiful picture coming from Jake, our camera guy, up on our lift.
Yeah, in just moments, they're going to get things underway, and we've got a slight breeze down here.
We do.
But when they take off, that breeze all of a sudden is going to increase.
Hopefully it's a tailwind for the sake of those riders. We'll have to see.
Okay, do we have Kevin Selly standing by with a look at the weather?
Guys, it is going to be a tailwind on the way out. Southeast winds about 5 to 10 miles per hour, a little later on this morning, and maybe 15 at times. But standing right here next to the start of the race, as Tobin and MJ mentioned, that wind gets up to about 100 miles per hour with these racers going by. Speaking of history, which we've been doing all this time because of the 40th anniversary, we started to look back at some of the history of the weather in this ride. And let's go ahead and take a look at some numbers. Let's look back and see, you know, the name of the race or the ride is Hotter Than Hell 100, but it really isn't that often 100 plus. Here's the last 10 years. In 2019, 2 years ago, the high temperature that day was only 94. We did hit 100 in 2018. 2017 was the year to ride. The high temperature that day was only 85 degrees. Continuing to look down the list, boy, when we get to 2014, that was a bad year. We hit 103 degrees when the race and the ride and the events all lived up to their name. And then 2011 was not a good year. That high temperature that year was 109 degrees in Wichita Falls. And my cameraman, Barry, just mouthed behind the camera, wow, that is pretty hot. For today, the weather's not too bad. We're going to see a high temperature today, generally in the low to maybe mid-90s in a couple of spots. The dew point's going to be the problem. That's been running all summer in the mid to upper 60s and near 70 degrees. So that's very thick air. It makes it a little harder to breathe. You don't sweat as effectively, things like that. So that is a problem. That gives you that heat index number that'll go in the afternoon into the mid-90s. I mentioned the winds. They won't be too bad. It's a pushing wind coming from behind the riders on the way out. But on the way back, it'll be a bit of a headwind to deal with. We're looking at lots of sunshine. There's a tiny little chance of a couple of showers way late in the afternoon into the early evening hours. A few pop-ups all across Texoma, just a couple. So race events, for the most part, will be done at that point. So the weather looks pretty good. Let's find out more about the race, see what Lauren's up to.
All right, Kevin, I found some friends here. This is Ron from Bryan, Texas. He is a veteran, and he's here with a whole group of veterans. Hey, Ron, tell us why you decided to come to Hotter Than Hell this year.
It's just kind of been a bucket list item of mine to come up and do it and just see what I could do and have fun.
All right, so this is your first year. Tell me about your crew here. Who is here with you?
We've got several of us from around the country that with the U.S. military endurance sports from various branches of the military. We're all veterans, and we meet up at these type of events, and this is one of our regional events.
Wow, thanks so much for your service. Now, you served, you told me, 28 years in the U.S. Air Force.
Yes.
That's amazing, and we really appreciate that so much. So tell me, what are you looking forward to today?
I'm just looking forward to having a fun time, socializing along the route, and just have no really big goals with it or anything. I normally do triathlon, so this is a little bit different for me. And so just looking to have a good time and meet up a lot of these guys I had never met before. So it's a lot of fun to hang out and just talk.
Awesome, and finally get to meet. Are you doing the 100 miles?
Yes.
Wow. All right, well, good luck to you, Ron. It was so nice to meet you. Thank you. All right, Tobin and MJ, sending it back to you.
Thanks a lot, Lauren. Yeah, we're seeing some of the first riders head down Scott Avenue, some of the early starters here. You'll see some of the recumbents down there, seated through the whole thing. And some of these, isn't that amazing?
Wow.
How would you
How
love
about
to be
that little
that?
yellow thing?
And he's able to climate control when they're going down through here. The recumbents there where they're seated back, kind of a comfortable ride for those guys. For me, that would be a little bit more difficult.
I'm honestly astonished. Like, you see a biker, right? But you got these tandem bikes and all these different kinds. This is really cool.
Yep, the tandems are on their way as well. One of the things I like to do is, as they head by, I like to look at the jerseys that they're wearing. And as a sports fan, you know, we just saw some folks with Oklahoma City Thunder jerseys go by, but you'll see a lot of Texas A&M, Texas Tech, a lot of the universities that people are representing as well.
So the question is, Tobin, where are they going today?
Well, they're heading all over the place, but a route that we want to look at right now for the hardcore riders of the Triple H. So let's talk a little bit about those maps and see where they're going.
So the 100-mile route takes you all throughout Wichita County, from the Falls to Iowa Park, Electra, then back east to Burke Burnett, and then back down here to downtown Wichita Falls.
Now, Hell's Gate is at the 61-mile mark. And it's scheduled to close at about 12:30, and if Hell's Gate does close, the rest of the 100-mile route, it's going to be closed, and all the riders will be directed to an alternate 75-mile route that goes through Shepherd Air Force Base, and the last riders usually finish around 5:30 or 6 o'clock. The course officially closes at 7 o'clock.
As for the 100-kilometer route, riders will head west into Iowa Park, then they turn north on FM 2384 before going into Electra. That's just over the 30K mark if you're keeping tabs. Then they'll cut back east at FM 1739 and ride into the outskirts of Burke Burnett before turning back south around 80 kilometers and back into Wichita Falls.
Needless to say, these routes are no joke. Months and months of training goes into anybody that suits up and jumps on a bike and completes these routes, whether they go 50 miles, whether they go 80 miles, whether they go 100 miles.
I was reading in our little media program here before we started, Tobin, 2 10-year-olds did the 100 miles with their parents a couple years back. I'm 24, and I couldn't even think about that. Props to them.
Yeah, 24. How many miles do you think you could have completed when you were 10 years old?
Not 10.
Yeah.
Never mind 100.
I mean, my daughter is 11 years old, and she can do the 5K.
Yeah. I guess it's different than running a little bit. You probably can get a little farther, but I go to the gym and I do 4 miles on the bike, so I guess I can do that.
That's one thing that I've never been able to do. I mean, I'm always working the morning of the Hotter Than Hell 100. I'd love to jump on a bike and complete some distance just so that I can say that I actually participated in the ride itself.
All right, let's mark that down for next year. Tobin can't anchor the show. He's gonna do the ride.
Okay, you're gonna solo anchor so I can jump on a bike?
No, we got Daryl and Lauren, and we'll get Skip back. We can do something.
So you can see a lot of the riders still behind us waiting to get started. They give those recumbents and the tandems a little bit of a jump start on people because they're not quite going as fast, space things out a little bit. So we're just moments away. The National Anthem should start to play at any moment now, and we'll have the cannon blast, which I'm interested to hear what you have to say after the cannon blast, because that cannon blast is well over on the other side of the bridge back behind us, and you can feel it. In past years, now we've got a new stage this year, so it's going to be interesting to see what it does, but in years past we could feel it. We could feel it just shaking. Okay, let's pause and listen to the National Anthem. The flyover
Wow.
today, Captains Kyle Yockey and Major Tyler Branyan. Branyan, kind of an interesting story here. He says his dad is riding in the Hotter Than Hell this morning and has for many years, so this event is near and dear to his heart, so it was a special experience for him to be a part of the flyover.
That was cool. We got to see it from right over our shoulder, and you're right, I could feel the blast. I think our stage is probably a little more secure than it has been in years past, but that's amazing as they're off, as they'd say.
They are off, and now for me, this is the people watching part that I really enjoy. So let's check out some of the jerseys, MJ, you and I, while we toss it to Daryl with an interview.
Oh, okay. They tossed to me. I'm with Jim Hanlon here with Fort Belknap. Jim, thanks so much. That cannon blast. This is the first time, I think, the first year that I was actually prepared for it.
Watch it, yeah.
I was watching. I didn't take my eyes off of it, and I was able to actually even cover my.
Everybody likes to look at the airplanes, and they forget there's a big boom about
That's what it always gets me. So, how did it go off this year?
Oh,
was it
perfect? Perfect. Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't ask for it to go better.
Tell me about that cannon.
Yeah. So, it's actually Dr. McBroom. It's his cannon that he donated to Fort Belknap for us. Gotcha. And kind of the one stipulation he had, if he donates it to us, is that we come up here and we keep doing this race. And,
which I'm sure is not a problem.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. And it's always eventful coming here to do this and setting the cannon off. And yeah, so whenever he said, just come up here and I need you to keep doing the race, well, absolutely.
Well, tell me the history of this cannon.
Okay.
Do you know the history how this particular cannon or a cannon like that?
So this one is it's actually a reproduction. So it's only about 20 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's a model 1841 6-pound field gun. And so Fort Belknap, where I'm from, they actually in the 1850s they had 3 of that type gun there. And so whenever he was looking for a place to donate it to, I thought, well, we used to have some. We don't have a cannon right now. We used to have those, and so this would be a perfect fit for it.
Would they have still been using this cannon in the Civil War?
Oh, yeah. This was the most used cannon during the Civil War, especially by the South, because so many of these guns were used in the Mexican-American War, and they hadn't really made their way back up to northern forts or anything. So, and the South didn't have the manufacturing that the North had, but they had a prolific amount of these. So the 1841 6-pounder is probably the most iconic, I guess, if you think of cannons, most used gun.
That is so fascinating. Yeah. I'm getting a wrap. So if anybody wants to see more of this, they can just come down to...
Yeah, you come down to Fort Belknap. Visit us at any time. Also check the Fort Belknap Facebook page. We put all the events and history and all kinds of stuff on there.
So. I've talked with you about it. I love Fort Belknap. We grew up there, had a family reunion there every year, and it's really something to see if you can make it out there as well. Jim, thanks so much.
Absolutely.
I know everybody enjoyed the cannon blast as much as I did too. Okay, we'll send it back to Tobin and MJ.
Thanks a lot, Daryl. Yeah, we're seeing some of the riders go over top of the bridge and start to disappear, and now some new riders are coming up behind us. They come in waves. The Scorchers come. Those are the guys that are running the fast 100 miles. You've got the keepers, the guys that know that they're going to complete the 100 miles. And then you've got the hopefuls, the men and women who decide that they hope that they're going to finish 100 miles.
I don't even think I'd qualify for a hopeful.
I don't think that I would either. Okay, let's toss it to a break. We will return in just a moment with more coverage from KFDX's coverage of the Hotter Than Hell 100.
Every year you look up this street and that is all you see. Cyclists, as long as you can, as far as the eye can see, there's so many of them. So many people get into this event every year. It's a huge economy boost here in Texoma, and we cannot thank all these guys enough for traveling. Some of them come as far as, we talked to a gentleman yesterday from Egypt.
Hello there, Texoma. Gwen Bevel coming to you from KSN in Wichita. I hope you are all doing super well, gearing up for another great event through the Hotter Than Hell 100. So I want to take this opportunity to look at a little blast from the past. This is Gwen circa 2008, working with the beloved and wonderful co-anchor and partner all those years, as well as boss there at KFDX, Doug Bilyeu. I hope you're all doing well as you gear up for another great ride this weekend. Pretty awesome stuff to be home to, the largest 100-mile bike ride in the entire world. I hope everybody stays safe and that you guys there at KFDX, all of my friends and what I consider family, have a great show.
Love hearing from Gwen Bevel, and this event is something that if you've just experienced it once, it's going to stick with you the rest of your life.
That's me, experiencing it right now for the first time, and you're right, it will stick with me.
Okay, Daryl is standing by with a guest. Let's toss it over to Daryl Franklin.
No, we don't have Daryl.
I thought
we'll
Daryl was
work on
standing
that.
by. We will work on that. I like what you said during the commercial break. You kind of turned around and you just looked at the wave of people and you were like, this is awesome.
This is awesome. I mean, just watching this, and I know you've seen it on our cameras from our angle up there, up top with Jake, and on our lift trying to get that high angle. It's just really cool stuff, and I believe we've got Daryl Franklin back.
Okay,
so,
he's ready now.
Daryl, can we hear you?
Hess and also General Lyle Drew. And General, we'll start with you. You've been here, what, about 6 weeks now. What's your reaction to seeing the Hotter Than Hell 100?
Well, this is exciting. As you celebrate your 40th anniversary of this international event, it's just so motivating to see all the bikers out here. And what a great privilege we had to set off the cannon this morning to set off this race. We're so proud of the community and the support that they provide us every single day. So this is a great event.
Well, it is a neat tradition with that cannon, too. And is this your first time to see the Hotter Than Hell as well? You've been here about a year?
Yes, sir. I've been here just over a year. Last year was virtual, so it is awesome to see the 8,000 to 10,000 riders kick it off. 40 years of Hotter Than Hell. It's the 40 years of the Euro-NATO Joint Jet Pilot Training Program also. So international ride over. And we actually, in our formation today, we had an international air crew. We had a Belgium, a German, and a couple of U.S. folks doing that. So.
That flyover was just beautiful, and we were able to do a larger story on that just yesterday.
Awesome.
Explain the flyover and the formation and how that works, and how I see there were, I was going to say T-37s, it's the Texans, I guess, and the T-38s, that they were both involved, right?
Yes, sir. We had both two T-38s and two T-68 Texan 2s, and it was fortunate that we had an exact time we had to be here today, because sometimes if it's live, you got to slow up, go fast, but we knew we had to be on time and on target, and it looks like they were today.
It was perfect.
Yep.
And last thing, how Shepard's involved with this each and every year. General, how is Shepard involved with this again? Besides the flyover, do you have personnel around? I'm not sure if maybe some of the medical tents throughout the ride?
We do. So we're proud to support this event, and so most of the riders are going to come through the base today. We have a rest stop at Shepherd Air Force Base, and we have a whole contingent of folks that are out there supporting that. And then we have many riders out here today from the base that are excited about doing whatever distance they decide to do today. And so we love supporting the community because they support us so well every single day.
Well, we love very much that Shepherd is still, after 80 years, a huge part of this Wichita Falls community. Colonel, General, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Tobin, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Daryl. Joining me now is Ride Chairman Roby Christie. And Roby, last year was a virtual event. What does it feel like to see the streets filled once again?
You know, it is a huge pleasure. We have sweated this for almost 2 years now, not knowing, well, if the next year comes, will it come? Everything, the clouds parted a little bit, and we're here today. And it's an awesome experience for us and for the people that traveled from all over the world to get here.
Was it ever a concern that the Hotter Than Hell 100 here going into the 40th year wouldn't bounce back quite as strong right from the get-go?
Well, we're pretty optimistic, and I had no doubt up until the variants, there got to be so much news about the variant that I thought, well, gosh, that's going to scare volunteers and riders away. But I think all of us citizens of America are ready to get outdoors and play for a little bit.
Doing this now for 40 years, are there, you kind of mentioned bumps in the road a moment ago to me. Are there things that happen even 40 years into the event that surprise you, that like, oh, okay, we got to tackle this obstacle?
Yeah, you know, it's not a year goes by that something doesn't occur that's kind of out of the ordinary. And for the last few years, I've been keeping a journal, not daily through the year, but a journal from April through Hotter Than Hell, so that I remember those bumps in the road and what we did to correct the bump. And it has been valuable to me this year.
Well, We've done it for 40 years. I hope to be around here for at least another 20 years and make it to year 60. And thank you so much for being such a big part of this, because this event would not take place without you.
Well, we appreciate y'all being here, and if I make it to that 60th anniversary, I'll be pushing 100.
Well, we'll have you right back up here on the stage. If Skip McBride can do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, Roby. We're going to take another quick break here, and we'll return to the downtown streets of Wichita Falls. KFDX coverage of the 40th annual Hotter Than Hell 100. We just saw someone head by on rollerblades. How many miles do you think he'll do?
Well, I wish him the best of luck, but that's got to be a little tougher on your legs than a bike, because sometimes you can glide if you're going downhill. I guess you can on rollerblades too, but you really got to push.
Something tells me he's done this before, though.
I think you're right. A first-timer just jumping in, I doubt it.
You know who else isn't a first-timer?
A lot of people, including yourself.
Well, that's true. Who else on our team?
Let's see. Daryl.
Yep.
Skip.
Yep.
Roby was just here.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Our chief meteorologist.
Kevin Selly. Let's toss it to him.
Hey, guys. As the cannon went off, I checked. The temperature in Wichita Falls was 71 degrees. The dew point, was 71. The dew point was 70. That means 94% humidity is what the riders are starting with here. That won't change very much. That dew point's going to stay in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. We have southeast wind at launch at about 5 miles per hour. So as the riders go out, that wind is going to be at their backs here for the first part of it. Coming back, though, it's going to be a little bit of a headwind, especially coming back south into Wichita Falls. Not a big one, but it'll be southeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Maybe occasionally toward noontime it gets up to 15 miles per hour. The forecast is pretty good. We're going to top out later on today in the low to mid-90s. The heat index numbers will probably go mid to maybe even upper 90s briefly. There's a tiny little chance of some rain much later in the day after all the events are over. So I think we're in pretty good shape other than that humidity as far as the weather is concerned. I heard Tobin mention jerseys a little while ago, and it is fun to watch those jerseys go by. I found my favorite one. This is Charlie, and I saw his jersey and noticed it because... Oh, it's gone. There we go. Charlie, I noticed it because it says FOG. And I got a little closer, and FOG stands for Fast Old Guys. So from a fast old guy and a slow old guy, me, we'll go back over to Tobin and MJ, I think.
Yeah, Kevin, we would be SOGs.
I was going to say, I guess I don't know, I think I'm old, but I'm definitely not a fast old guy. I'm not a fast young guy either.
Or maybe we'd be soggy. Slow old guys getting younger.
Good for you.
I'm trying to think of something there real quick off the top of my head. But I really do enjoy watching these jerseys, and I meant to point it out a moment ago because you are a huge Boston Red Sox fan. I saw someone down here with a Red Sox jersey go by.
Oh, I missed that one. That would have been nice.
Okay, it's time for another break. You know, I shared this stage for many years with Skip McBride, also shared this stage many years with Susan Knowles. As we head to break, we'll hear from her.
You know they're going to be there.
They'll be there. You know, the amazing thing to me is we think we get on our bicycle and we ride.
Right.
But there is so much strategy behind that they talk about.
Yeah.
And that's what...
And they talk while they're out there. They'll talk to each other. So, and there's a little bit of trash talking going on, too. I saw that.
Really?
My best memory was climbing up on that scaffolding for our broadcast every single morning and looking down Scott Street, and for as far as the eye could see for probably 30 minutes or more was people and bikes of all shapes and sizes coming from all over the country to be a part of the biggest bike ride in the country. Met some amazing people, and of course got to work with the best crew in TV every single year. Congratulations, Hotter Than Hell 100 on 40 amazing years. Here's to many more.
The cannon and the flyover ought to be about the same time. There they go, T-38.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
It's kind of funny. They were talking about the flyover right there, and they just flew over again. circled that
Circling
route and just
back.
came back over. We also have a lot of drones flying over top of us out here. So, MJ, I'm going to get your thoughts in just a moment, but before we do that, let's hear from Daryl, Lauren, and Kevin on their thoughts for the 40th annual Hotter Than Hell 100.
I know that, for one, I can't wait to see that drone footage. I hope the drone footage is posted everywhere for us to see.
It's been buzzing back and forth.
I know. I was telling them earlier, this is my first time seeing the Hotter Than Hell 100 from the start line. I was just amazed. I mean, it was literally a sea of riders. I mean, you see it in pictures and video, but it's way cooler in person.
And you really don't get used to it.
You've been doing
it blows
it for
you
years.
away year after year.
It was amazing. I mean, we met some awesome riders. I mean, they're from all over. I mean, it is just really cool to see from here.
Well, it's always a wonderful event, but a little look behind the scenes. We're already preparing for next year for the 41st anniversary. We've been standing here talking. We just have the second flyover, but we're going to already prepare with questions for the folks from Shepherd Air Force Base.
This is the big one.
We want to know, it takes between 4 and 5 hours for a good rider to get through this course. We want to know and see if next year the planes from Shepherd will just fly the course and how long it will take them. We figure 4 or 5 minutes.
The Texan and the T-38 to do the course.
Yeah, I think they could probably do that pretty easily.
3.5 minutes, 4 minutes.
All right, guys, we're sending it back to you.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, people come from all over the world to participate in this event.
I would take the under on 4 minutes for the Jets to fly the trail, by the way.
I would take the under as well.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's going to do it. We're out of time, MJ.
I guess so. It came and went very fast, and just as these riders are doing the same.
It did. That's it for our coverage of the 40th annual Hotter Than Hell 100 in downtown Wichita Falls. We hope to see you back here for year 41.